You're listening to Moving Business Forward Faster, a podcast by the United Nations Global Compact.
This is an infinitely solvable problem.
Convene businesses around a large, ambitious goal.
It's the right thing for our business. It's the right thing for society.
Moving business forward faster.
Forward Faster will help us all together as a community to drive progress on the Sustainable Development Goals. It's time to move forward faster.
Welcome to the podcast, Moving Business Forward Faster, your insight into how businesses are shaping a sustainable future. In today's episode, we delve into the Forward Faster initiative, a campaign echoing the pressing urgency of our era. Today specifically, we're talking about climate action. With a clear-cut goal of capping global warming to 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial levels, the initiative urges a bold pledge to cut emissions by half by 2030. Embracing climate action is not just crucial for environmental health, but also a strategic imperative for business resilience and innovation. With us today to explore the integration of environmental goals into core business strategies, we welcome Karen Bassier. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
And tell us a little bit about your organisation, your role, and where you operate.
So I work at Safaricom. We operate in Kenya and Ethiopia. Safaricom is in the process of transitioning from being a telecommunications company into a techco, a technology company. So we are based in Africa, Ethiopia, and Kenya, and we connect people to people, we connect people to knowledge, and we connect people to opportunities. So that's the space in which we operate in, and I'm the director in charge of sustainable business, social impact, and the foundations.
Oh, thank you. It's really interesting business going through significant change. And tell me, how many people work for your organisation?
We are approximately 6,500 people who work here, and we are the home of financial inclusion. People know us globally as the home of M-Pesa, the mobile money platform.
Okay, terrific. So Safaricom has set ambitious climate goals and goals around sustainability. How do you measure and report on your progress?
Thank you. So at Safaricom, we've been on a journey for a more sustainable future, and our journey is as unique as it is intentional. It's about purpose, our people, our planet before profits. Okay. So we've intentionally set that out. And our purpose is to transform lives. And this is where we've incorporated the sustainability strategy. And the strategy serves as the framework for everything and all the actions we do. And this was approved by our board. So our strategy has 4 pillars. The first one is creating shared value by leveraging on technology to create products and services that create value for the business, the communities, and the people we serve. The second one is planet, where we are decarbonizing the business as well as decarbonizing society. So we made a target, a commitment to be net zero by 2050, and we're working around circularity. Then, of course, we have to operate responsibly in an ethical manner, and then our world and the people around us, we can't do anything without this. So we've been on the journey of reporting for 13 years. We've been able to set the baseline for all the things we do, and we had to create the targets, because if you don't have targets, what are you reporting against? How do you track your action? So we set our targets, and we brought in KPMG and Deloitte to be able to assess what we are saying. So we took a methodology by KPMG called the True Value Methodology, which helps us to quantify the positive and negative impacts of our organization on society, on the environment, and on the economy. So this helps us look at combining financial earnings and then monetizing the externality data so that we know where we are at and our impact on the environment. So we don't use just one metrics for measurement. We have a team of 60 or so champions who collect the data. KPMG goes through the data and helps to see that it is okay, and then we get a third party to assure our data. So that's how we measure our sustainability journey and how we are moving forward. So we use the sustainability report as our roadmap, and this guides us as a company to ensure that we hold ourselves accountable accountable. So our report talks about the good, the bad, and the ugly in the business. We're very transparent.
Sounds like a very robust approach. I too have worked for an organisation that committed to net zero by 2050, and it's a term you hear spoken about a lot, but actually doing the work and getting that commitment made by an organisation and supported by a board is a very big challenge. So congratulations to you and your team for getting that far to date.
Thank you so much.
It's
really been a journey.
Yeah. How does Safaricom's approach to sustainability influence your corporate culture and your decision-making processes?
So when we started working in sustainability and also looking at our company's purpose, which is transforming lives, we wanted this statement to permeate every decision made by the company, so that it drives the traditional and pushes the traditional boundaries and leapfrogs us to do business that creates value for society. So we developed a purpose strategy where sustainability is anchored. After that, we decided to decentralize sustainability. So each of the business divisions has aligned to the purpose strategy, to our sustainability strategy, and there's ownership at that level. So as a business, as a lead, we set out and we work with the teams in a model we call co-creation. So for instance, we decided to use the SDGs as a framework. So when the SDGs were launched in 2015, we in 2016 looked at the 17 goals, 169 targets, and said this offers a great framework so that as a business working in Africa, we are contributing to the better, to the common good. So we started working with the SDGs, and we used them as a vehicle to drive our strategy. And we identified 9 out of the 17 SDGs. And we said, what can the SDGs do for us? Not what can we do for the SDGs. What can the SDGs do for us? And we have technology. So we said, let's leverage technology, bring in the SDGs as a framework, help all the employees understand the sustainability agenda. And so we have witnessed firsthand the transformative power of leveraging technology and using the SDGs as a framework for creating shared value. And this has really, really helped us be able to explain to the employees this journey so that all the 6,500, they understand we are on a journey of transforming lives, and the SDGs offer us this framework.
That's really interesting.
That's how we've done it, and we embedded it in the business strategy. So we don't have a standalone strategy. It is part and parcel of our business strategy and part and parcel of what we track and report on our progress on the 9 SDGs we've chosen.
Karen, I really love the co-creation model and how you've embedded it in your organisation. That's really an effective way to sustain it over a long period of time. With the 9 SDGs that you chose, were any of them a surprise to you or your colleagues, your management committee?
I think when we chose the 9, for instance, we took SDG 3, good health, and SDG 4, education. And we said, this form core of our pillar. We can use technology to improve the quality of education. We can use technology to give people access to good healthcare by dialing a dog or something like that. So we were thinking that way. And I remember somebody saying, but SDG 9 should be your core SDG. Because industry, innovation, infrastructure is what you guys do. But as we looked at it from, these SDGs are connected. If we tackle this type of SDGs, we will do this. So we never chose SDG 13 per se, climate action. Because we said if we do everything at SDG 7, which is energy, we leverage energy, we leverage technology, it will impact climate action. So how we were thinking is, these SDGs work like a vehicle. If you fix this, the outputs and outcomes are the same, but the spirit is, let's leave no one behind. So I think the SDGs just came to give us a better framework, shaping, and we can tell our story much better because we have a good narrative to go with.
That's terrific. I often hear companies be exposed to the SDGs for a first time, and they're so daunted by it because they're 17 and they're complicated, and it sounds like you've taken a very strategic, considered approach that has sustained you over a period of time, right? Because it's been in place for a number of years now.
Yeah, and it gives you a reason to continue innovating,
Yes.
continue pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
And so when you go for global meetings and you hear that the SDGs we're doing badly, you
Yeah.
sit back as a business and say, have we contributed
Yeah.
to betterment of life? And how are we contributing into this global agenda?
Terrific. Innovation was actually my next question. So what role does innovation play in Safaricom's strategy to reduce its environmental footprint?
Yeah. You know, the beauty of being a technology company is that we have the platforms, we have the network, we have the technology to help better
Yes.
and improve climate kind of things. So what we've done is we've leveraged our technology platforms in different ways. So for our own decarbonization, we've used AI as we put out our solar panels. We made a decision to move from diesel to solar. So we are almost at a third of our sites on solar. So what we've done is we use AI to monitor and see if indeed the energy is enough. But what excites me is the innovations we've done for society to help them decarbonize and to help them with climate kind of solutions. So the first one I would like to talk about is M-Copper. So M-Copper is a pay-as-you-go system where the people who couldn't afford to be connected to the grid can stop using kerosene and firewood and that kind of thing. So they use solar panels with a SIM card and you pay, because the base of the pyramid of the economy live on a daily wage. So you can't expect these people to pay on a monthly basis.
Yes.
So they pay just a little 0.2 of a dollar or something daily to access clean energy. So for me, those are the innovations that excite me. Then we started asking ourselves, everyone is talking about carbon trading. We know in Kenya we have enough forests, communities have done their best, but how can they enjoy from offsets? So using the platform again, we've worked with other partners to build a platform that leverages off our mobile money. So that if there's a community selling credits, there are buyers on this end, they're on the platform, and then we aggregate and help the community. So we've worked on a Carvex platform with other partners, because at Safaricom we know we can't do this alone. Then we also realized, in the same spirit of pay as you go, we innovated around mobile, it's called M-Gas, so mobile gas, so that the people can afford clean cooking using LPG gas from using charcoal and the likes. So you can pay whatever you want and then you get to cook. So far we have 27 depots of this. We have 360 households enjoying this. So for me, it's how do we innovate to help society combat their little footprint. Then again, we've worked with businesses to help them combat their footprint using machine-to-machine communication so that the business knows how to manage its own energy footprint. So we've done that also at business level. But I always say it's a blue ocean.
Yes.
The opportunities to leverage technology are vast and endless.
Yes.
We've been working with the UNEP to measure air quality. Then we make data-driven decisions. Perhaps don't go to town today. We've already reached the maximum capacity. So there are very many different technologies that we are looking at to ensure that we do play in this climate space and contribute to decarbonizing ourselves and society.
Terrific examples there, Karen. Thank you. How has Safaricom worked with local communities to ensure their needs and voices have been considered in your strategies and your environmental strategies in particular?
Yeah, so what we realized as a business early on is that we cannot thrive when society around us is not thriving.
Correct.
So once we realize that, and we realize we are dependent on each other, and we realize that we all depend on the environment, that's why planet is a big pillar for us. So for our value chain, for our survival, we all have to take care of the planet. So one of the things we did is, as we were working on our materiality, we talked to the community and said, what do you think is material to Safaricom? What are the imperatives Safaricom has to do now to ensure that we all have a prosperous future as a business and as the community. So different things came up, and then we started thinking around when we made the net zero targets. We said we did the science-based target initiative, so we're one of the first companies to go the science-based way.
Right.
We drew our pathway, and we knew that by 2074, at the rate at which we are going, we'll never be net zero. And so we started intentionally working on this in some places with communities. So along the way, we realized that we may not get there. We may need to offset if some things don't work, but I'm sure with technology we will. Then we also said the country is in the process of regrowing its trees, reforestation, and that kind of thing. And so we made a commitment to plant 5 million trees in Kenya. This is all way over and above what we need to offset the little fraction that will be left. But we knew we needed partners and the community. So we worked with the Kenya Forest Services, community forest associations, and the local communities around the trees to educate them on the importance of taking care of our nature, biodiversity, and we started talking about nature-based solutions. So as a business, we disseminate this information to the communities. We let them know the importance of doing this. Then we have worked with them to grow the trees. Right now, we are at almost 1.5 million trees.
Wow.
And we have shown the community that around 2,000 livelihoods have impacted positively directly by forest products and taking care of our trees, and then 10,000 indirectly. So for us, we know that the communities around the forests need to be ring-fenced. They're part and parcel of our strategy. They're part and parcel of our planet agenda. So we are not leaving them behind as we move into a green planet.
That's fantastic. 5 million is a very ambitious number. I've looked at doing something similar in an Australian context, and sometimes you can't even find the NGOs that want to plant that many, in a short amount of time, or you have to work with multiple NGOs. So it's an ambitious approach.
It is, but our government is very ambitious. At COP here, they're discussing growing 15 billion trees, and they're looking at 500 million USD.
Okay.
So we want to move. So when we started doing our tree growing, the Kenyan tree cover was at 7%. Then we started and other corporates joined. The beauty of being a company like for Safaricom, you have a lot of catalytic effect. When we start something, other people join us. So by the time a year ago, we closed at 12%. Now we are pushing to 30%.
Oh, wow.
And the government is leading in the tree growing initiative, because we have to create the microclimates to help the communities adapt to the changing weather.
It's such a lovely, positive story, because sometimes we know that we're behind the targets, and that's a really ambitious and successful approach that you and the government
and
have
you'll be
taken.
shocked, our government gave us a day in December, a public holiday to everyone go and grow trees.
Fantastic.
So we had a national tree growing day.
Oh, how wonderful.
And here we grew 34 million trees.
Okay.
Which is fantastic for a start. So I look forward to seeing one day when we've grown up to 30%.
Yeah. I'd like to just dig in a little bit more about engaging the local communities, because that's a wonderful example, and it's an example of the organisation identifying something it wanted to do, and the communication that you shared with the communities. But to what extent, through the materiality process or otherwise, were you responding to their needs?
That's a very interesting question. So when you talk to our communities, they give us different information. So when we're working on materiality, we'd ask them, what would Safaricom do that would make you happy? So during, before COVID, they wanted education for their children, then health, and then economic empowerment.
Right.
So economic empowerment has always been, the three, it just interchanges. When COVID ended, they said educate. So during COVID, it was health, then empower me economically because the children are home. So give our children access to education. Then now they're like, we want equal opportunities for our children and empower us economically. So our tree growing is part of economic empowerment because they earn. We pay the communities, by the way. We've put in so much money.
Okay.
When we made the commitment, we didn't realize how heavy a commitment would be.
Yes.
So the business, and by the way, the business funds it. 100%.
Yes.
So we just get other partners and other people to join along the way.
Okay.
But the business committed to funding, and the money goes straight to the community. So we are empowering them economically, and that's what they wanted. So we have different models of economic empowerment, but for me, I see the tree growing as one of the best. And also, we've not left behind the indigenous communities that live off the forest. So when we do such kind of things, then we are not leaving anyone behind, from the indigenous communities to these communities. Then the other communities, we do have different economic empowerment projects for them. So it's a very inclusive, addressing each community need.
Interesting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you mentioned materiality. I just wanted to dig into that a little bit more as well. How often do you do your materiality assessment? Do you do it when you start a new strategy, or do you do it every couple of years or annually?
So in the beginning, we did when we started, then we worked on that, but would tweak as we go, Then when just before COVID, 2019, we did a new materiality and we refreshed everything, because the world is changing. Things are changing so fast. So every 3 years, we deep dive and see.
Okay.
So every year we just send out a quick questionnaire. So we do every year, we do talk to our different stakeholders to see what's still material for them. And the beauty, I think, of being in a tech world, things don't change that drastically. It's more of moving from maybe networks to platforms, moving from innovation to digital innovation, or that kind of thing. So the materiality moves a lot, but every year we do a quick deep dive. Then 3 years we take a deep dive into materiality. So we keep on refreshing our report. Remember, we've been doing sustainability reporting for 13 years. So we have to always check and see, lest we are busy reporting on things that don't make sense to the communities and to our stakeholders.
I really like the approach that you describe, because sometimes for some organisations, doing a deep dive on an annual basis can be really overwhelming and take a lot of resources. And as you suggested, sometimes the needle doesn't shift so much in a 12-month period. So it sounds like a really well-balanced approach that you're taking there. Karen, could you please elaborate on the social impacts of climate change mitigation at Safaricom that they're addressing, and in particular in relation to partnerships and suppliers?
So we realized that digital technologies that we have contribute to climate mitigation. So I'm going to address this looking at it from mitigation and adaptation and then monitoring. So on the mitigation side, we knew that the cost of energy consumption per site, one of our sites, wasn't the best. So we decided to minimize our expenses by 10% as part of our energy strategy. So we started modernizing this. So we are working with our partners and suppliers to help us mitigate our own footprint. So we got suppliers on board, explained to them, this is our sustainability journey and this is where we are going. So that was one of the things that we did. On adaptation for society, in Kenya right now, we've come from a 3-year prolonged drought season. And drought. And now we are in El Nino, so heavy rains are pounding. So on adaptation, what we've done is as simple as just sending people a text message to say, move to higher grounds. It's going to rain heavy in your area and there's going to be flooding. So we work with like the Red Cross, so the Kenya Red Cross Society, to send out these messages. As per Q1 of this year, we had already impacted 10 million lives, and we had spent some money to ensure that these communities know. So we're also training people on adaptation. So this is where the patterns are changing. We developed a tool called DigiFarm. So DigiFarm is to help farmers know when to grow, with all these different changes in whether when you're in a drought and what to grow. So when to grow, what to grow, where to get quality seedlings, where to get fertilizer if you need. So we've developed a platform as part of our adaptation for communities to use, and suppliers plug into the platform. So we want to do DG Farm, as in agriculture from end to end. And then in other adaptation, our CEO, Peter Ndegwa, was appointed by the president to chair a private sector-led committee on drought mitigation. And it's simply because we had the technology to help the community. So part of that is we are using climate technology, such as early warning systems, to be able to predict using AI the weather more accurately so that the communities are not caught off guard. So as I said, we have a lot of things that we can still do in adaptation. When I look at monitoring, we've used the Internet of Things, data transfer, to be able to help other businesses as well as ourselves in adapting and in ensuring that we do the right thing. So I've talked about Mkopa Solar, I've talked about air quality. Then we have our mobile money platform, M-Pesa. Now we've opened the platform for other people to use. We've partnered with a company called Mr. Green Africa, where we have asked communities to collect plastic. This project excites me a lot because we had a plastic menace.
Yes.
So Mr. Green came to Safaricom and said, can we develop green digital points that are money? So if you collect plastic in the community and take to a Mr. Green point, you get green points. Then in our platform, we confirm the green digital points into money using M-Pesa. Okay. So the endless opportunities we have to transform lives using technology and partners and suppliers is amazing. I think we've barely scratched the tip of this thing. So we are also learning and seeing how else can we deploy technology, how else can we work with partners, with community to ensure that we are all addressing being net zero by 2050.
They're really interesting examples of community engagement and community support. You know, financially, it sounds like it must be a big financial investment from your organisation to some of those initiatives, which it doesn't always need to be. So kudos to you and your team. Can I ask you a little bit more about the suppliers, the partnerships with suppliers? Mr. Green was sort of a community partner, but how have your suppliers responded to your sustainability agenda, and what role do you see them playing?
So depending on the supplier, being a tech company, we buy lots of technology, lots of base transceiver stations and that kind of thing. And so we sat down with the suppliers and said, look, we need a tech back scheme. At the end of life, you made this equipment. Could you kindly take it back and help us do the end of life disposal? So we started working on an end of life disposal plan. So when we buy from you as the supplier, at the back of your mind, you know you will take it back from us because we don't have the know-how.
Thank you for listening to Moving Business Forward Faster, a podcast by the United Nations Global Compact. To learn more about Forward Faster, visit forwardfaster.unglobalcompact.org.